What's up, everybody? Welcome to a very special episode of the Not Your Average Mark Wrestling Podcast. We are kicking off our third year as a podcast. We couldn't do it without all of you. Thank you so much for everything, for being in the chat, for watching the show, for listening to it. And I say it's a very special show because not only do we have the man that showed Triple H how to grow a beard, Mike Caldwell, we have the one and only Father Padge. What's up, guys?
What up, y'all?
How's everything going?
It's going, man. It's been a great week of wrestling. We're going to get into that here shortly. Before we do, though, got to ask, since we're starting our third year, what better way to start it than with a blessing from the Father?
Oh, well, I guess I could do that for you. Sinners and filthy animals, join me in prayer as we say a blessing over this here podcast. He is the Not Your Average Mark podcast. And watch over and please take care of that beard Mike Caldwell's attempting to grow. And watch over everyone else. And thank you for all the things that you do for us. Amen.
All right. Amen.
All right.
Well, I want to start out by throwing a few thank yous out there. Of course, I want to say thank you to Ross and the boys from Labor 12. They do our intro outro music. Track's called Head Rush. Album's called Monster. You need to check it out if you haven't. What are you doing if you haven't checked it out yet? 3 years I've been telling you about this album. Make sure you go check it out. Labor12.com. That's laborxii.com. I want to say thank you to Joe and American Legacy for our Not Your Average merch. We got the hats, we got the beanies, we got the skull caps. We're doing bandanas, T-shirts. It's going to be a whole thing. J-Rebs 3D printing, as you can see right there. This little piece of awesomeness is a J-Rebs 3D printing original. If you've got a logo that you want to get put into a light sign, hit him up at jrebs3dprinting.com. Blind Ambition Studios for all our graphics. And the WrestlingSociety.com for putting us in their podcast room. And, of course, the one that makes all of this look good, the guy, Patrick, appreciate everything you do, especially the work you put into our website. If you haven't been there yet, it's notyouraverage.mark.com. You can get bios, you can get merch, you can find out where we're going to be, what we're going to be doing. You can send in suggestions, things you want to hear on the show. He's done a hell of a job with it. So check out, after we get off the podcast tonight, head over to notyouraverage.mark.com. We have got all sorts of stuff going on in the chat right now. We've got Eska1981. Alex, what's up, brother? Saying congrats on 3 years. Appreciate you. We've got Kenny Sign Guy saying, hey, y'all, I'm here to hear what Father Padge has to say. He's a great guy, but I hate his wrestling character.
Whatever, Kenny, whatever.
I think Kenny might have thought you were going to say something like that because the very next one says, I have a feeling he's going to badmouth me during the show, but I'm here for it.
Yeah. It's because he's hiding in his mom's basement behind a keyboard. It's okay. He's just mad. He's mad, dude, because I keep beating all these teams that he keeps rooting for to beat me, and he just can't do it. That's all it is.
Well, speaking of teams, we also have the one and only Deacon Hendricks joining us, saying congrats on 3 years. Deacon Hendricks, thank you so very much.
That's my boy.
We've got Kenny the Sign Guy. Boo, Father Padge.
Yeah.
We've got J-Reb in the chat. J-Reb, good to see you. We've got Jello in the chat saying happy 3rd anniversary. Appreciate you. It's been a trip. It really has, and I'm ready to keep it going. Let's get into some main roster moments. It's been a pretty good week in wrestling. We'll start off with a little SmackDown. We had the whole start with Jay and Cody and Jacob. I liked it. It was good. You had Jay come out talking about, it had a crazy week, winning the Royal Rumble and everything. Cody Rhodes comes out and is like, you've earned this, but you need to choose who this is your WrestleMania moment. You need to choose who you're going to choose. And out comes Jacob Fatu. That is a big bastard. I do like what he had to say, though. He said, first off, Cody Rhodes, last year you took that title from my family, but as of now, my family needs that title back. which takes me to you, Jey Uso, Mr. Yeet Man, Mr. 2025 Royal Rumble winner. Don't get this twisted. Let's keep it 100. If anybody is going to bring that title back to the family, it sure as hell wouldn't be your ass. It's a little family infighting there. Got to dig that. It was a good segment. Like, I think it was a good way to start SmackDown. What do you think about it, Mike?
Well, I'm always saying that there's good things going to happen from Jacob Fatu. He's very good on the mic, very good wrestler, and WWE is treating him the right way, and they're giving him all the good stuff right now. As far as Jay and Cody go, they're very respectful to one another, and very respectful to one another. It was kind of a good thing. They talked about their media scrum where they had a little bit of enhancement, should we say?
Yeet.
And then, I mean, of course, very good opening segment.
I liked it. I thought it was good. And from that straight into some action, we had Bianca Belair going up against Piper Niven in a qualifying match for the Elimination Chamber. I liked it. It was a good match. It moved the storylines along. Bianca, of course, going over in that one and will be in the Women's Elimination Chamber. Padge, what'd you think about that?
Well, I was kind of actually pulling for Piper to win that. Although I would have liked to see what damage her big self would have done inside that chamber. But I'm a big fan of Bianca Belair as well. I'm actually a huge fan of hers. So, I mean, in my eyes, she really can't do much wrong. I'm like I said, I'm a huge fan. But I think that it's time to push some of the younger ones. Yeah, you know what I mean, that they're bringing up and stuff. But right now, it's that one was good. But I really like the Cody moment. You know, it was Cody and Jay was good. You know, like that was. I kind of figured it was going to go the other way, but it was moving. I think Cody cut some really damn good promos. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I think he's really good, but I think Jay cuts damn good promos too. You know what I mean?
Well, I like that they tie it all back too, because whenever, granted they're on SmackDown now, but whenever Jay came back to Raw, it was Cody that brought him back. So
Yeah.
they keep going back to the history, and from somebody that likes the storytelling aspect of things, I think it's awesome.
I'm the same. I love the entertainment part. Yeah, that was good. Jacob Fatu. I was gonna go back a little further. Do you guys remember? I think it was just a little while back. You know, like he fucking pretty much squashed Braun Strowman.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Like that's a big deal. So they're pushing him to be like this monster that they need. You know what I mean? Like if you're gonna do that to Braun Strowman, who's supposed to be this big monster, and that's big on Braun to do that for him, honestly. But I thought that was cool.
It was. And I'm looking over at the chat. Rick saying slow and steady with Fatu is the right move. No reason whatsoever to put the foot on the gas pedal yet. We had Baby Samoa on the show last week, and I think he put it best. The fact that they took the handcuffs off of him, let him say more than Solo, I love you. That man can promo like no other. Like he says something, you believe it.
Yeah, I seen some of his stuff. I think it was MLW. I seen some of his stuff on there on YouTube. I think that was where it was. Don't quote me on it, but I just remember scrolling through. I've always been a fan of like a lot of the Samoan wrestlers and stuff. I love the Wild Samoans. I used to watch. My dad had old tapes and stuff, and I would watch this stuff when I was a kid.
Wild Samoans are something else.
Yeah, they were crazy. It kind of scared the shit out of me when I was a kid.
We've got Jello in the chat saying his favorite part of it was saying Cody saying "till we eat again." That's
yeah.
They play a lot with that. Rick saying Piper Niven is going to be a huge baby face monster once Chelsea starts being abusive and demanding. Starts?
Increase it.
Yeah, increases it.
Yeah.
We've got DIY going up against Pretty Deadly. I like what they're doing here. Like the win with Pretty Deadly, they're over as ever, and the chemistry between these four people is insane.
I didn't expect any of that, honestly. Like, I'd never seen them work before, so I thought it was cool. I thought it was kick ass, dude. Like, like they won with that. What was that? It was a roll up, right? Like you ended up catching him and grabbing the ropes or something like that.
Yeah, he had Ciampa was going to pin him, and he would rolled it through and rolled up Ciampa.
Yeah, that was cool. Like the whole sequence, the whole match was actually pretty damn good. Like I was impressed.
Mike, what do you got on it?
Well, I think that DIY is just they're doing some great heel work right now, and you get them in the ring, and obviously Pretty Deadly's supposed to be heels along with them, and the story they were trying to tell was that they were going to collaborate until they got the title match, and then they took the title match away, and then if they won and they get a title match, and they did win, so now we look forward to what's going to happen next, and this is all going to lead up to this big musical production, Pretty Deadly the musical.
And Rick has already made it very clear that is what he's here for. He needs Pretty Deadly the musical to be a thing. So they did a thing with Miz, and I feel like maybe Miz is taking a page out of his super good friend Karrion Kross's book, and is planting that little seed of doubt when he asked Cody if he and Jay are still going to be friends if Jay chooses him. So I kind of like that they're doing that.
Yeah.
Of course, yeah. Miz has always been the little devil on your shoulder, but now that he's been more around the Karrion Kross situation, he is going to be SmackDown's version of said Karrion Kross, they're kind of going after some of a similar character. I'm liking the darker side of the Miz versus just being that annoying guy that nobody really cares for, who can get his heat back anytime he gets beat just because he opens his mouth. Yep. So I'm really looking forward to seeing where the story's going on that situation.
Well, speaking of opening your mouth and getting heat, Drew McIntyre is now on SmackDown. The Scottish psychopath did his whole segment about Raw being a toxic work environment. It was all pretty good. But how do you make it better? You bring Jimmy out to tell him he's living in the past and he's going to WrestleMania. Oops. And what's the cherry on top? You have LA Knight come out and say there's 3 promises in life: death, taxes, and Drew McIntyre crying like a baby. I'm not gonna lie, I popped at it. I thought it was funny. The thing that got me was hearing, when it was all said and done, hearing him say, oh, wait, I forgot to get all my stuff in. Like making that jab at Drew after what happened at Royal Rumble. Like, I love it when they throw little Easter eggs in there like that.
I laughed pretty hard at that. Yeah.
Yeah. And okay, here's a question for you, Guapo. Do you think that they're playing everything up because they had that little about 45-second squabble where it looked like everything was kind of chaotic inside that match with Drew and LA Knight, where they were just like all over each other until Jimmy came over and pretty much set the record straight?
It did look like there may be a little bit of shoot fighting going on there. I liked it. Apparently, Eska liked it too. I said it looked like they weren't holding back when they were hitting each other. I think they're a little bit of a potato factory out there. Like they were throwing some shots.
Yep. Could they both be trolling everybody doing this, or could it be that just something got out of hand? We don't necessarily know, but obviously it's got people thinking.
I feel
Man,
like it's
see that. Sorry, that's by design or it's not. You know.
Yep. And either way, it works out really, really well because I was all about it.
Because I thought so too. I thought it was a little stiff, you know. But
even with that, it was a good match. Of course, Drew came out on top in this one, but like, how are you going to get a bad match putting those three in the ring together? Like, I don't think you can.
I don't think so.
Whenever it happens, and I'm thinking probably WrestleMania, KO versus Sammy is going to be killer. It feels weird to say that. Right. I was just about to say it feels weird saying that, seeing as we've had KO and Sammy several times in several different promotions. But just KO saying it's all Sammy's fault, and he stepped in for Roman, but he just sat there and watched KO get folded. Like, the real feeling in that is this is going to get good.
See, I like that they're letting him once in a while break out his original finish, that fucking package pile driver.
Mm-hmm.
And he's doing it on people that he's done it on before that know how to take it, thank God, you know. But
when we were watching the Rumble, Mike and I both were. Cody got KO up on the ropes, getting ready to do the superplex. And we're like, don't do it. You don't superplex KO. Don't do it. And that's why.
Yeah, always. I've never seen him get superplexed.
Nope, because he always turns it around. So we had
counter his though, man. That's pretty sick.
We had Tiffany Stratton and Charlotte. This one's jumping off good. Like, I'm digging it. You know, you've got I'm not TV time. I can't with that shit. But that being said, her coming in and saying, please pick me. Please pick me and let me whoop your ass. Like, I thought that was good on Tiffany. And then Charlotte turned around saying, look, you speak when I tell you to speak. That's that. Like, this is a good jump off right there. Like, I think it left me hoping that she picks Charlotte picks Tiffany Stratton.
I think Charlotte is the catalyst that Tiffany needs to get to that next gear, and possibly we might see a babyface Tiffany Stratton out of this situation.
Well, we're getting there, I think.
I like the fact that it's not necessary. We don't have the slow turn or the quick turns anymore, where it just happens overnight. Now it takes a couple of months to actually get from one point to another point in the situation, and I think that's a good thing. Slow burning everything to where we tell the story better.
Excuse me. I like Tiffany Stratton. I think she's very talented. I would like to see her and Charlotte go at it because I think the two styles, because they're very similar, but they're also very different. You know what I mean? They have a lot of things they do. They both do that moonsault like flawlessly. They both, you know, and legs. They throw them kicks. You know, like. But do we really need Charlotte Rhea 3? Like, I mean, at WrestleMania? Like,
that's kind of where I am on it. Is as much as those two are on, I think Ric Flair said recently, Rhea and Charlotte are on a different world when it comes to wrestling. And I agree with that. They're both great, but the idea of them doing it again at WrestleMania just doesn't hold the same oomph as a Tiffany Stratton and Charlotte Flair. And I said this last week. I like the fact that Charlotte was like, I want to go to NXT and I want to watch Julia and see if she inspires me. And given that credibility to NXT as a potential title she's going after as well.
Hey, she won it before from Rhea.
Yeah.
I remember. Yeah.
We've got Deacon Hendricks saying, I'm so tired of Flair. She just got back.
Man, my dude, he don't like her, I guess. I don't know.
You know who else just got back that makes Guapo happy? Alexa Bliss.
I was happy about that. I popped like a fucking pimple, dude. Like, I was jumping up and down. I was like, oh, shit. Like, because it's been like 2 years? Jesus. Like,
just about, yeah. And I popped just as hard, man. I was all about seeing her come back. She is now headed to the Elimination Chamber, and the talk of the town is the fact that we got a glitch during the match, a Wyatt Six style glitch. I can't say 100%, but it to me confirms that she is going to be tied in with the Wyatt Six in some way.
That'd be great, man.
Well, if you look at the new improved Lily doll, you'll notice that the Wyatt Six logo is actually one of Lily's eyes.
Yeah, it's the pupil of her eye is a 6.
And also, like, her jacket, like it said.
Yeah. Fiend forever. I mean, friends forever.
Yeah, friends forever. You know, like.
So we get the main event. We get Jay and Cody going up against Tama and Jacob Fatu. It's a good match, goes back and forth. And what do we get at the end? Solo Sikoa comes back, jumps out of the crowd in a black hoodie, and Samoan Spike to Cody. He's down. And that's how we go off the air on SmackDown. I thought it was, all in all, it was a good show. Like, what do you think about it?
I liked it. I like it. I like what they're doing with the Bloodline thing. I'm hard pressed to find something about the Bloodline I didn't really like. I really like the Bloodline story. I do. But I like what they're doing with Solo. Like, because now, what's gonna happen though? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Where does he fit in on this? You know, because are we gonna get Cody and Solo? Like,
I personally feel like we're gonna get Solo talking to Tama Tonga and Jacob Fatu like he did when he had the Ulafala, and Jacob Fatu being like, "You lost. You don't have a tribe."
Okay.
So I think we end up with Solo and Jacob.
Well, if that happens, then we got pretty much a guarantee that Jacob Fatu is going to be one of the biggest baby faces on SmackDown. I don't think we're at that level yet. I think that there's a lot more story to tell before we get to that situation. But nobody really had it on their bingo card that Solo was just going to show up after that match and spike Cody and everything.
True,
but they're still doing a very good job in protecting Jacob. You know, Jacob is always on the outside of the ring. Somebody ends up getting him out of the way so they can get a pinfall on Tama, which Tama's pretty much the glorified fall guy right now, which it's okay. I don't think it necessarily hurts him very bad because he is kind of a minion.
He is. So I'm looking over at the chat, and Jello saying, I think Jay needs to start ambushing Gunther every week and giving him a taste of his own medicine. We're actually just about to talk about that. So we start off Raw with Jey Uso, and he's doing his whole dance. He's on the crowd. Like, he starts to talk, and the crowd says one more time. So he gives him an encore, and he's standing up on the table, on the announce table, and here comes Gunther and just rips him down, and they get into it. Crazy thing about that, Gunther takes his jacket off, goes to throw it out of the way. Pat McAfee ducks, and this little kid just gets rocked with that jacket. little kid in the crowd. He just bah.
Really, I didn't notice that.
Yeah, he rocked this little kid. Like Pat had to turn around and make sure the kid was okay.
I thought he threw it at Pat. Like, I guess.
Oh, he
Pat-
did. Absolutely, he did. But Pat ducked it and got the little kid behind him took it.
That poor kid. Damn. All right.
Well, Gunther proceeds to just beat the hell out of Jay and tells him, "Don't do it. Don't do it." And he gets back up the ramp, and Jay sits up and says, "You, me, WrestleMania. It's a thing." So he's officially declared that it's him and Gunther at WrestleMania. Which I'm not gonna lie, I wasn't expecting it that quick. I figured they were gonna draw it out a little.
The pop for that was completely insane.
It was.
And I love the fact that we're back to some classic wrestling psychology with that, because everybody was talking about the fact that we got the Yeet Encore on Raw last week. We got the Yeet Encore on SmackDown, and then for the third time, we got it on Raw, and then that's when Gunther actually had the attack. So we're back to basing things on 3, which is a classic wrestling psychology.
Yes. Well, we go from that into Damage Control versus Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez. Holy hell. This was a good match. Like, I love the fact that they're letting these ladies go. Like, they're letting them go in these matches. There was a time when it was very much, if we're having a ladies match, it's going to be, 3 to 5 minutes and done so we can get to the next match. And I love that they're not doing that. They're letting these ladies go with it. And it was a hell of a match. Liv got busted open ugly. Like, they showed her later, the whole side of her eye right here is busted open.
Like purple or like.
Well, the side of her eye from about here down was starting to develop a really deep bruise, and the fact that she has a cut right underneath and all the way across was just insanely ugly.
It was a hell of a match. I ain't gonna lie. We had Elimination Chamber qualifier, Bayley versus Lyra Valkyria. Again, these ladies are setting the bar. Like, that match was great. And here's the thing that I liked about that match. Everybody wins in that match. Bayley moves on. She's going to Women's Elimination Chamber. And Lyra Valkyria took a multi-time champion to the limit. So, I mean, it helps her too. So everybody won in this match.
Agreed, very much so. Go ahead, Patch.
No, I was just saying, I agree with that. Like, I've always looked at Bayley and thought, she's just great. She's good. And I like the evolution of Bayley over the years. You know what I mean? Like, I really have. I've liked every version. But as the characters develop, so has the work in the ring, and it's noticeable. You know what I mean?
Very much so.
And she's having, like, great work. This has been some of the best work of her career that I've seen anyway the last few years. You know what I mean? And she's a good storyteller. So, yeah, I'm a little biased on that one. But yeah.
I love Bayley. And I'm kind of with you in that. I've loved all the different renditions of Bayley, all the different character developments that she's gone through. But I got to give it to Lyra Valkyria. Like, she has come in and just absolutely killed it in her first year.
She's sick, dude. Like, she is like another level. Like, she's crazy. Like, I love watching her work, man.
Yeah, she does a really good job. AJ Styles. Homeboy has been hitting the gym. Like, I didn't realize, like, he got big. Like, last time I saw him, he had a little going on, a little extra weight around the front, but AJ looking good. And Of course, Dominic Mysterio comes out with Carlito. I think one of my favorite lines from all of that is, I know who you guys are. I remember the purple. Uh, I think he said girly pants or something like that.
Skinny jeans.
Yeah, the purple skinny jeans. That's you, Carlito. And like, it was funny. It was a good promo.
It was pretty good.
Of course, I got to say it about Dom. Still getting just big heat every time he tries to talk. Everybody cuts him off, and it goes to show he's just as big a superstar as everybody else. The fact that he can get those kind of crowd reactions.
He's like the best heel right now.
Yeah.
Like,
I still love that he gets out and he says everything he's got to say, and AJ looks him right in the face, says, "You're still just Rey Mysterio's punk kid." And of course, he clears the ring. He talks to Nick I almost said Nick Aldis, to Adam Pearce, and he gets a match for next week on Raw. It's going to be AJ Styles and Dominic Mysterio, and that's going to be a hell of a match. I am already looking forward to it.
That's going to be good, man. Good.
Jello in the chat saying Bailey has become the Cena of the women's division, traveling all over giving rubs. Okay, so that makes a mental picture. Jello, I'm gonna need you to chill.
How dare you, sir?
No, he's right though. Bailey is a lot like the Cena of the women's division. Like I've said it 100 times. Anytime you put Bailey in the ring with somebody, Bailey is going to elevate that person.
That's true. I'm for a long time wasn't much of a Cena fan, so I didn't really like the analogy. But the last few years, I've kind of loosened. I watched a lot of classic shit that he's in, and I'm like, I can't really talk shit or deny facts. I've never been able to. So John Cena is one of the best ever, honestly.
All right, so before we go on with this, I'm glad you said that because I want your opinion on this. The fact that, because we got footage of this, the fact that John Cena, after the Royal Rumble, said, "I feel like I've earned it. I'm in the Elimination Chamber." What are your thoughts there?
I agree.
Okay.
I like 100%. You can't deny that. Like,
No, I agree with you on it. It's just I'll go through and look at what different people have to say about things. You would not believe the number of people are like, "Well, he didn't earn his way in. Everybody else has to have a match."
I think the fact that he has never in his entire career, when he could have any time he wanted, pulled that card, and he waited till now because he had to, speaks volumes, because it shows the desperation in wanting to accomplish this one last big goal.
No, I agree. Mike, what do you got on it?
With John Cena, I mean, the respect is there. You know, he's doing his part to tell the story, and obviously, he didn't have any kind of entitlement anytime on screen, should we say. He hasn't had the entitlement there. Every time he's done anything, he's always earned his way in, and now I believe he gets that right. And once we go even further in this to Punk's promo on it, Punk even acknowledges that fact.
Yeah, and we're going to talk about that here in just a second. But I agree, he's earned it. It's great for him to do this. I do have an opinion that apparently is unpopular. I do not believe that he gets the belt at WrestleMania. I believe he gets 17 before the end of the year, but I don't think it happens at Mania.
I kind of agree with you, honestly. I think so.
I can see him using the biggest stage out there to put somebody over.
Yeah, for real. That's what he's done for like the last 3 fucking years. Like,
something like that. So we got a new setting for the interviews. We had CM Punk, or not CM Punk, Seth Rollins and Finn Balor. They did their interview, and it was in a different spot. It was up in the crowd, and I like that. I think they should keep that. And I mentioned the setting because, of course, you put Seth freaking Rollins and Finn Balor in front of a camera talking to each other. It's going to be a good segment. I mean, they went back and forth over who's in whose way, and they have a match next week on Raw, and it's a qualifier. And here's my problem with it. Storyline tells me Seth is going to win that match. That's just, there's enough going on, and Drew's, with Drew and with Punk, and both of them are going to the Elimination Chamber. Seth has to be there. So storyline tells me that Seth is going to go, but I'm interested to see how Seth wins this.
Like the match with Finn Balor?
Yeah.
Oh, I think he wins it with a curb stomp.
That's possible. That's very possible.
Well, I mean, these two, I mean, they've worked each other a few times, and I think I have to agree with you. I think the story makes sense for Seth Rollins to win that particular match.
I like that they're again, like I said earlier, they're going back to history because, like you said, they've faced off at a Royal Rumble. They faced off at Mania. It was a buckle bomb to the outside that
separated his shoulder.
Yeah, it messed up Finn's shoulder, and he had to relinquish the title. So there is a big history there, and I think this plants that seed, and that we continue with that history after Elimination Chamber.
I can see it, man. I really could.
Brought up Punk, or before we get to Punk, the War Raiders. War Raiders never cease to impress me. Like,
oh man,
I think that Pat McAfee said it best, that they do things that big men shouldn't be able to do.
Yeah, they. Well, see, that's exactly the right way to describe that, because it's the bigger one out of the two of them that's the more agile and the like crazy one that does all, you know what I mean? And the smaller one, sorry, what's his name? Eric.
Eric.
Yeah, Eric. He's like super strong. You know what I mean? Like,
Ivar is every bit of 350 pounds and does a moonsault.
Right, that's what I'm saying. That backhand, that handspring back elbow, and then like the cartwheel spin kick, horse shit. I mean, not horse shit, but you know what I mean. Like,
it's crazy.
It's insane.
No, I love watching them wrestle. They are the reason that Raw is war, as everybody's fond of saying. And I do like that they do that, because give it that little throwback to Raw is war. So Punk being interrupted by Logan Paul is just good TV. Like, there's no other way to put that. That's just good TV. And I've got to give it to Logan Paul. Like, he does a really, really good job of getting heat, even through he keeps going, even with the crowd's booing. So, Dominic, the crowd starts booing, and he stops, and he tries to say something, and then he stops. Logan just keeps going through it, even with the crowd trying to boo over him. And he works well with Punk, because he'll say a few things and set it up, and Punk will, verbally speaking, knock it out of the park. So putting the two of them together, talking to each other, that's just good business.
I have a sneaking suspicion that if for some reason Punk does not get through and win the Elimination Chamber, the match that they're going to have at WrestleMania will be Logan Paul versus CM Punk.
I could definitely see that. Logan Paul, Rey Mysterio, that was a good match. Paul won his spot in the chamber. Rey put him over well, but, and this may be an unpopular opinion, and if I offend anybody with it, I apologize, but Rey Mysterio at 53 years old has no business in an Elimination Chamber match. He's a great wrestler, and I love Rey Mysterio, but he's got no business in an Elimination Chamber match.
Probably why he's not doing it.
Exactly.
I didn't. Thanks for the spoilers. I didn't get past the War Raiders match.
Oops.
But,
spoiler alert.
no, it's all good, man. It's I'm still gonna watch the shit, you know. But like, yeah, Punk is flawless on any promo, no matter what. I didn't see it, so I can't tell you, but I know Logan Paul's formula. Like you said, he's just screaming over the booze into the microphone. You know what I mean? Like, and it works for him. That's his style. Rey Mysterio, never seen the guy have a bad match, so don't, you know, like, anything bad about that. What's that? I saw a clip, I think, of that earlier, actually, when I was scrolling through Facebook. Did Logan Paul use a different finish besides a punch? Some kind of weird flip shit? Like
he, what did they call it? The pulverizer?
It was a he hit him with the punch and then turned it around and like did some weird flip. It made Ray go like 360 up in the air and then planted him with a DDT.
what?
Exactly. I had to stop and watch it like 3 times, and I still said that every single time.
It was wild, and
I wasn't sure I actually saw that shit. So
oh, you saw it. Yeah, I believe they coined the name of that as the pulverizer.
yeah, very aptly named.
Yeah, it is ugly.
He's only doing that to dudes Ray's size.
Yeah, he's not doing that to a CM Punk or a Drew McIntyre.
He's not doing that to Randy Orton. Like,
No, oh hell no. So, I really enjoyed where they're going with this, and I think the thing I love the most is you stop and think about Elimination Chamber, and you think about the people that are in the Elimination Chamber right now, and there's a storyline coming out of Elimination Chamber for each one of them if they win, that you could plausibly see for each one of them, and there's a storyline coming out of Elimination Chamber if they lose, and like that's good storytelling.
how many spots are filled in the chamber right now?
We've got Drew. Yeah, 4. I think it's 4. We got Drew. We've got Punk. We've got Logan Paul. And who's the other one? Huh?
Drew, Punk, Cena, and
Cena,
Logan
yeah.
Paul.
Yeah, Drew, Punk, Logan Paul, and Cena. And then we've got Seth versus Finn Balor. I don't know what the other match is.
It's a 3-way match. It's Braun Strowman versus Jacob Fatu versus Damian Priest on SmackDown.
Oh, hell.
What?
Yeah. Braun Strowman, Jacob Fatu, and Damian Priest in a triple threat.
Tomorrow night?
Yes.
Shit, yeah.
Tomorrow night on SmackDown. Holy hell. All right. We're going to jump into some big news. I've got a couple of things there. Number one, there were some releases. WWE released Cedric Alexander, Sonya Deville, Blair Davenport, the Authors of Pain, Hall of Famer Paul Ellering, Isla Dawn, Giovanni Vinci, and the Good Brothers, Luke Gallows, Carl Anderson, and Elektra Lopez, all over this last weekend. It's a lot of cuts, man.
Could you imagine having to like make that many future Endeavor letter copies? I'm just like, God damn. That many emails and shit.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, they're not the only ones that were doing it. AEW, the Clown Show, Malachi Black, Miro, Ricky Starks finally finding their way out of the clown car and are free and clear of their AEW contracts. So much so that Tuesday night, Ricky Starks shows up on NXT.
I saw that, dude. That was crazy.
That's awesome. Like I'm excited to see what happens with him.
He didn't call himself Ricky Starks, though, did he?
No, the crowd did.
Yeah, the crowd. I wonder if that's what they. I mean, I wonder, like, you know what I mean? What is?
I'm glad you brought that up because that was my thought. Because the announcers didn't call him Ricky Starks. He didn't refer to himself as Ricky Starks.
He just said, "You obviously know who I am." You know.
Rick in the chat saying when you're trying to free up money for Starks, Aleister Black and Miro, plus signing KO to a new 5-year deal, some people got to go.
I was thinking that. That's about right. That's about what I was thinking, actually. Yeah. Hey, good point.
Right, so this isn't a big news thing, but it's just something I want to throw out there. Roxanne Perez coming out dressed up as the old Hugs Bailey to that music was fucking genius. I enjoyed the hell out of that. I thought it was cool.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
plane crash.
Oh no.
There's a story there, I promise, but we'll see if
Oh.
Pat wants to tell that story or not.
Yeah, we'll wait for that for the interview segment. Absolutely. We gotta cut some of the fat off if you're gonna try to bring in new talent. You can't. That's one of the issues that AEW has been having over and over and over again is they keep acquiring new talent and they're not getting rid of anybody. So now they have 240 people on their roster. So now we gotta figure out, WWE's doing the right thing. Let's go ahead and let go some of the people. We'll go ahead and keep them on to their 90-day non-compete. They pay them all the way through. And then at that point, they can go over to the indies and they can make 2 or 3 times their money in merchandise sales and everything else. That's all their stuff. So, I mean, it's kind of a win for these guys in a way. And then it also gets some of these guys to where they're going to be like the Codys and Drew McIntyres whenever they get back to WWE in a later date. They've went out and made a different name for themselves and made the gimmick that they have whenever they go back so they can become true stars.
Yeah, they go out and learn a new move. That's probably the biggest piece of advice I've heard since I've been a part of the independent wrestling scene is, if you watch some of the greats, they'll be at a place for a while till they get stale and then they go somewhere and learn a new move. So I think it's a good option for them. I don't know if the guy's got it queued up. I hope that he does, but it is time for one of my favorite segments in the show. It is time for Notes from the Clown Show. All right, so Cope and Jay White, they steal the briefcase containing the Triple B, the world title, and they say the only way that Moxley's going to get it back is to meet them in the ring at the end of the night. So the only acceptable response to this, the only thing that's going to work is to have Marina Schaefer beat up Willow Nightingale, right? What?
It makes sense to me. I mean, really. Also, on that note, Abyss gave him a phone call and said he wants his stuff back.
Right?
That 2x4 was straight up Janice.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that 2x4 in just a second. But since we're talking about the briefcase, the briefcase. Can someone please explain to me why, with all the money that Tony Khan has access to, the coveted AEW World Heavyweight title, the most prestigious title in all of wrestling. If you don't believe me, just ask Dave Meltzer. He'll tell you. Why is it in a 1985 RCA camcorder case looking thing? Like, can you explain that?
Well, have you ever carried one of those RCA camcorder cases? They're damn near indestructible.
They are. They're damn near made of Kevlar. Oh,
But even more, John Moxley has been champion for, I don't even know. He's been a champion for a little while. In fact, they've been on a worldwide audience on Max for several weeks now. And nobody on this worldwide level can see the champion with this belt. So some of these people have no idea what this belt even looks like. All they're seeing is a briefcase. So way to go, Tony Khan, for going ahead and showing the world that your title means nothing.
Fucking A.
That is the correct answer. Now, before anyone says, but the storyline, yes, I get it. It's supposed to be so only Mox and Marina can gain access to it. But having Cope go after it with a Japanese toothbrush, and shout out to Damian Blood for that one, I don't get it. Like, those camcorder cases are like Kevlar. Like, you're not gonna, I don't care what you hit it with. And then to turn around and FTR is coming to the ring, or not FTR, I forgot their name. Death Riders are coming to the ring, and he's got a 2x4 with nails all the way through it. How did he get beat up?
Well, that's easy because just like all the other weapons that they're using in AEW, like screwdrivers, and the list goes on and on and on. You don't actually, if you have a weapon, that's the frustrating part to me. If you have a weapon and you're in the ring with it, you should be expected to use said weapon, not do something where you're gonna do other things with it. You know, if your intention is to cause bodily harm to where somebody cannot continue a match, and you're going to bring weapons into the situation, and then you use a screwdriver to just carve up somebody's face instead of stabbing them in the heart, you have the wrong weapon.
Right? Well, Pads, let me ask you this. If you've got a very long 2x4 and it's got nails all the way through it, and people are coming, two people, 3 if you count Moxley, are coming to the ring, are they going to beat you up?
No.
That's what I don't understand. Somehow Edge ended up getting beat up, or excuse me, Cope. He's lost the privilege of being called Edge to me. I can't do it no more. So probably the non-clowniest thing to happen this week. Big shout out to Brick Savage and Jay Alexander for making it to Collision. Like, that's a big step, and happy for them. All the flowers for them. That's a big deal for them. But all joking aside about everything, because I get messages from people like, you're just a hater. All joking aside, it's getting harder and harder to watch AEW. Like, I don't watch it very often because it's that hard to watch. And I'm going to tell you a little story. It's story time with Uncle Guapo. It's not that kind of story.
Okay.
Not that kind of story. I grew up listening to country music. Like, I was listening, that's what I grew up on. I lived with my grandparents, grew up listening to country music. Got to be about 12.
Country music. I love it.
Say what?
I fucking love country music. Go. Yeah.
Well, you may not like this story. I am. I grew up listening to country. I'm still a fan of 90s country. But at about 12, 13 years old, I decided, you know what, I'm going to try something different. And I got into like Collective Soul, and then I found Nirvana, and then I found Nine Inch Nails, and then it was over. I listen to rock now. Fast forward about 6 years, maybe 7, and I decide I haven't listened to country in a very long time, so I'm going to turn country on. So I flip over to the country station, and what do I hear? Honky tonk badonka-donk. So I said, no, I'm done. I'm turning this off. Go back to my rock. Go back to what's comfortable, what makes sense. Fast forward, 7 more years. One more time, I'm going to give it a try. And I turn it on, and the first thing I hear is, I want to check you for ticks. AEW has become the country music of wrestling for me.
It was only good in the 90s?
But it wasn't there in the 90s, which made it look better. But no, it's
Sorry.
just
TNT. Never mind.
I listen to country to remind myself why I don't listen to country anymore. And I watch AEW to remind myself why I don't watch AEW anymore.
I understand. I'm a fan of older country myself. I'm not a fan of stadium country or whatever they call this other stuff.
They got hick hop. That's a thing now.
Hick hop. Yeah.
Hick hop. Yeah, that's a thing. Apparently, I can't.
Yeah, there's not too much of the newer stuff I like. And as far as since we're talking about wrestling, AEW, I was telling you, I wanted to watch it because I started watching it out. I watched the debut of it. I watched because I'm a Jericho fan. I'm like a longtime Jericho fan, and but
I was gonna leave it alone.
Yeah. I'm still a fan of Jericho. It's different. I don't like the finish. I don't like the Judas kiss.
Yeah.
It's an elbow to the. I hit people with that when I give them an Irish whip. You know what I mean? It's not a finish. I think I'm bigger than him, so
See, that's what we need. We need Jericho and Father Padge. Battle of the elbows.
I couldn't do that dude any justice, man. Shit.
I've got. Let's see. Eska saying that the Ass Boys and the Hurt Syndicate was a pretty good match. The Guns and Hurt Syndicate. Hurt Syndicate is, in my opinion, those are your stars in AEW.
Oh yeah, that's going on there now, right?
Yeah.
Forgot. See, I don't.
You got Shelton Benjamin, you got Bobby Lashley, you got MVP. Those are your stars.
And guess who has just been released? So we got about 90 days, and then we may have another member that was part of the original Hurt Business.
Cedric Alexander.
Cedric Alexander, absolutely. We've got OTB Lilith Blood in the chat saying, as far as the country music thing, perspective. Lil getting the wave. J-Reb saying it's Pop Tree or Hick Hop.
Pop Tree, yes.
Pop Tree and Hick Hop.
Either one of those either one of those things.
J-Reb saying, give me some Pink Floyd, Pantera, or Labor 12 any day. Amen. I'm down. Yes. All right. Well, that takes care of Notes from the Clown Show. Tony Khan, you are a clown. And you book as such. Before we get into the next segment, I want to remind everybody, if you haven't already done it, go to the socials, click all the things, click the likes, the shares, the follows, all the things. Click all the things. It helps us out, lets us know who's watching, and by all means, if there's something you want to see on the show, comment, let us know. We'd love to hear from you guys. So you can do that at notyouraverage.com. You can do it at all our socials. Click all the things. Now that I've done my shameless plug, it's time to get into Father Padge time.
What's up, man?
First and foremost, from all of us here at the podcast, happy belated birthday.
Oh man, thank you. Yeah, last Monday. Yeah.
So you're what, like 23 now?
Uh, yeah, yeah,
Yeah, we'll go with that. Yeah.
yeah. Like for like 14 years now or something.
23 and holding. So for some of our people watching, some of the people listening that may not have had the opportunity to see you wrestle, uh, let's talk a little bit about how you got into the wrestling scene and where the Father Padge character comes from.
All right. Well, I grew up a fan, like most of us. I was obsessed when I was a young child with like Hulkamania, like you know what I mean.
Yeah, brother.
Yeah, I was all about that, and just stayed with me my whole life. And then for a couple years, I didn't watch. And then one time, I was in class, and this kid in class was talking behind me about wrestling, WCW, and he's talking about Sting, and I didn't know anything about a wrestler named Sting. I thought the musician became a wrestler or something, like.
I've
And
got
then
that mental picture now. That's scary.
because I knew the musician, but like
Right?
he started saying about Hollywood Hogan. I was like, oh, is he related to Hulk Hogan? Because like I hadn't watched in a long time. I never heard of WCW. You know what I mean? And he was like, oh, he was Hulk Hogan. I was like, what? Like he goes, yeah, it's on tonight. You gotta check it out. I was like, so I had Prime Star. Do you remember that satellite Prime Star?
Yep.
I had that, and I went. It was like channel 580,000 or something. That was a shitload of channels. But I got on there to watch. I saw Hulk Hogan. I don't know why I'm telling you this whole story, but like he had the black beard, and I hadn't seen this before, and he's out there being an asshole, and I was like, man, I dig this, dude. Like, I like it, this is cool because it's something I didn't know the backstory. I didn't see the heel turn yet or anything like that. I was just in the moment right there, like, this is cool, and then and I was like, oh, and Macho Man's with him? Like, because I remember Macho Man from watching WWF back in the day. I was like, oh, what? Look at all these guys. Like, I was like, they just moved over. And I was like, I thought, like, they had, like, upgraded to, like, a bigger company at the time. I guess it kind of was, But, like,
Yeah, in the wars that they were winning.
but yeah. Anyway, I just kept watching from then, and that was like in the 7th grade. Like I've watched like, since like 1997. Like, but I got into it. I went off to training in 2002, right after I graduated high school. I wanted to get started in the summer, and I went to a camp, and it was different. It was like, uh, I I'd never been through anything like that, and I played high school football. I'd wrestled in high school. I've been a martial artist my whole life. Like that was the thing. Was like I always looked at it that way about me as like I'm a martial artist who became a pro wrestler. Because that's all I ever wanted to do was be a pro wrestler. But my dad was a martial artist. And I had to learn all that stuff growing up. But I ended up loving that. Like that was going to be my life if pro wrestling didn't work. Or if I didn't, catch on to it, I was gonna go back to do martial. I was pretty successful at the martial arts stuff, but yeah, I wanted to do. I couldn't figure out a gimmick. Like Mike, you can relate to this. You couldn't figure out your first gimmick right off the bat, right? Like it was.
Yeah, I went through a couple of evolutions before I actually got to where I was.
Yeah, like I was trying to get to my first one, and I was just like, man, I don't have anything. And Mike, I was talking with like people I trained with, and they were like, what do you like? I'm like, well, I fucking like wrestling, but obviously, but then I love heavy metal, and I'm like, well, okay, I can do that. He said, why don't you do something like that? Do like a heavy metal gimmick. You got the long hair and everything, and I was like, all right, and I just So I get put in this tag team, right? And the guy like gets hurt, and they put me with a different guy. Well, the other dude they put me with didn't have a partner anymore because he moved, and he was like this demon like character, and I was like, I could do something like that. I could do something dark, you know. Well, all of a sudden, I just took the pictures with this guy. These are old. I'll show you these photos someday. They are horrible. Like I have mascara and weird looking shit eye paint on. Like it's fucking horrible. Like I don't even know if Mike's seen these photos or not. But like I'm in this tag team. We don't even have a name, but the promoter gives us a fucking name and puts it on the flyer and he's like, we're the Demonic Knights. I'm like, oh, we're Satanists. Okay. You know? Like,
Thanks for letting me know.
yeah, it didn't tell me shit. Even spelled it with like the fucking pentagram and the shit, you know, like but so I'm like, I don't like this at all. But so I dropped that gimmick pretty quick and I ended up doing the heavy metal thing. And that worked for a while. I think I was on the tail end of that when I met Mike in 2007. I was on the tail end of the heavy metal fucking weirdo shit that I was. It was just wasn't really a gimmick. It was just me fucking head banging and just beating people up and shit. You know, like
It's just a regular Tuesday.
there was no substance to the character really. Like Father Padge came along because of an injury. Like that. I got hurt pretty bad. I hurt my knee really bad, and I was laid up for a while, and I was doing a lot of stuff I shouldn't do, like pain pills and stuff. Like I have prescription, but I was doing more than that than I should. And then you know, just trying to kill the pain. And then I started thinking to myself, I was like, I want to do a different gimmick because there's nothing to this fucking shit. You know, sorry, there's nothing to this shit. You know what I mean? And I want to do something different. So I remember I did. I smoked something in the oven, and I was, I was, it was a ham. But I was watching Star Wars, right? And the aroma of the ham really got to me. So I was really into the Star Wars movie, and
Nothing like ham to get you into Star Wars, man.
I'm really trying to be friendly here. No, I'm really into the Star Wars thing, and I'm a big fan of Darth Vader, and I love the way Darth Vader looked. And then, like, I remember after it was over, I started watching some wrestling DVDs, and I was like, man, Undertaker shit is cool, you know, like. And then I was like, and then I saw Edge, and Edge had this badass like fucking duster jacket, and I was like, man, that's cool. And I started thinking of put them all three together, and if I did that, I could come up with a different kind of character of sorts. So Darth Vader, Undertaker, and Edge's jacket, I guess, were like the inspiration for Father Padge's look at first. But
Father Padge, the edge of the Undervader.
Yeah, I guess. But I was gonna tell this one part earlier. When I met Mike, it's a funny ass story actually. The very first day I met Mike, in 2007, I was still doing the bland headbanger horse shit gimmick, you know, and I'd never, I'd, I hadn't wrestled in a year. That was the first time I hurt my knee. And I came back after a year, and I had met Mike that day. The promoter was this weird fucking guy up there. Let's call him Dave. Like,
He's not here, man.
No, he's definitely not here. But
I couldn't help it. Sorry.
yeah, it's cool. No, I don't think he's watching this anyway. But um, so Mike, Mike rides up with this other dude, this other wrestler that I'm gonna end up wrestling that night for the heavyweight championship. His name's the Equalizer, and Mike rides up there with him. And I've been told about Mike. Mike's a good guy, nice dude, big son bitch. And I'm like, all right, cool, you know. Like he made, I'm a lot bigger back then than I am now. Like I'm 255 right now. I met Mike. I weighed all of 325. You know, like I was a big boy. You know,
Big boy.
I put on a lot of weight in that year that I didn't wrestle. You know what I mean?
Borderline Chapter 4.
So I remember meeting Mike, and I was talking about this spot where he was going to run in, and I said, "Yeah, because he's going to work." Kid Scream was going to work my tag partner. Fucking.
His name doesn't matter.
Yeah, I don't fucking remember his name. He's an idiot. But anyway, yeah, I want to say no, that ain't right. That's just a female body part. Anyway. Sorry. I don't often pop myself, but like that. Yeah. All right. What the fuck were we talking about?
The first time you met Mike.
Oh yeah, so Mike's over there standing by the fence over the other promoter's house, and I said I'm talking to him about the spot he's going to do against this partner of mine, and I said I'll run in and hit you with my finish that way, and then he can get the dirty pin. And he was like, "What's your finish?" And I was like, "Jackknife power bomb," and he was like, "Fuck that!" Like this. Crazy. Well, it turns out I didn't know Mike had a horribly fucked up back at the moment and shouldn't be wrestling in the first place. But like, I was gonna hit him with my finish, which is a power bomb. But like, I ended up winning the title that night off of 3 moves.
3 moves.
Yeah, I got my ass whooped the whole match, and I hit 3 moves and won the fucking match.
All right. And new.
Yeah. Yeah. Wrestled the Equalizer that night. That was a fun little match because it was my first one back in a year, and then I get the strap. I mean, that was cool.
Yeah, you can't beat that. Now you spent some time wrestling here in West Texas, right?
I did for a long time, man. Yeah, let's see, 07, 2020. So yeah.
Yeah, I'd say that's a day or two.
Yeah.
Squared Circle Pro, BCW, various promotions here in West Texas, and you know, maybe one of these days we see a Father Padge return to West Texas. You know, could it be in the cards?
Well, it's not on me personally. I would personally do it for nothing, but I do have to. You know, there has to be money involved. You know, it's for the cause, not for me.
Obviously for the cause.
For the cause. Yeah.
Is it that same cause that we tried to raise money for at that biker show?
Oh, you guys want to hear a fucking funny ass story? This motherfucker right here, I thought was gonna get us killed.
Mike, what did you do?
Oh man, I'm about to tell you what he did. We were doing this. First of all, this was a biker rally and a cancer benefit for a lady that had like 3 kinds of cancer out there.
Oh wow!
And this biker rally was all to raise money to help with her medical bills and stuff, and like help her kids and everything. And we were out there in the middle of this thing, and we were doing a tournament show, so this thing could last all day throughout this biker rally. So I wrestled 4 times in this freaking thing. Mike wrestled like 3 times in this thing. But this is God's work. I've got God. This is the very first version of God's work. Mike is the first member of God's work. I'll get back to the debut of that later, but like he is the first member but it's him and I have one other member with me at the time, Deacon Chaos. And we go up there. The microphone, we have to go up to the stage. We don't have a mic down there in the ring. So we have to go up to the stage where all the bands are. We take one of their mics and we're talking. I just cut a promo, blah, 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 you know. And then Mike gets the fucking microphone and he goes, "We're going to do a little collection." And he passes out the ring bag that you put like the fucking
Turnbuckles.
turnbuckles in there.
Okay.
He passes it out there and a gimmick collection plate. And they both get filled up with like shitloads of cash. Like shitloads of cash, dude. And we're like, we're putting over that we're here for this good cause and everything. And then we get all that money back. And he's got it in his hand. And Mike goes, "You guys really did the right thing today. We're here for a great cause, blah, blah, blah." Then he says, "You just bought God's Work beer for the rest of the day. Thank you guys so much." So, like, we're about to walk off, and then all of a sudden, bam, out of nowhere, there's 4 off-duty Marines that are now our permanent security for the rest of the day. They have to escort us to and from the ring, like, for our matches.
Damn. You want to talk about get some heat?
At the
Let me
end
tell
of,
you, this
at the end of the night, we end up doing some stuff where Padge has this at the final match,
I'm in the finals, yeah.
and he wins the finals. But before he went, no, did you not win?
No, I lost the finals to the Equalizer.
That's right. Anyway, Equalizer wins, and then he gives this giant bag of cash to somebody, so that at the end of the day, he's the big hero that rescued all the money for the lady with cancer.
Golly. Yeah, I would say y'all are lucky y'all made it out of there.
Turned into
Damn.
a fucking storyline, man.
Now you started talking about the God's Work stable, and there's been several different iterations of that, right?
Oh, yeah, there's been like 4 or 5, yeah.
Of course, Deacon Hendricks in the current iteration.
Yeah, actually, yeah, he's one of the best acquisitions I've ever had in it, honestly, if I'm being honest. He's a sponge. He's learned, he's listened, he's doing what's asked of him, and he's doing it exceptionally. And I've only really had to point him in the direction. It's pretty much, like, I point, he's the gun. There's the target, like, he's good. We're good. We're good together.
Well, and apparently he has been listening. I'm looking over at the chat, and he says that you were talking about your martial arts and your dad being a martial artist, saying that your dad fought Chuck Norris.
Yes, yeah, I did a few times back in the day. They sparred back in the 80s. Yeah, I think it was
That's
like
wild.
3 times. Yeah.
So
Yeah, he would tell me all about it when I was a kid. I was like, that's insane. It didn't really, like, when I was a kid, I was like, well, that's cool. And I grew up and I was like, man, that's pretty fucking awesome. You know what I mean?
like, how many people go like, yeah, my dad, sparred Chuck Norris. And it's nothing big.
Yeah. No, that's pretty cool though. Yeah. When I was a kid, I thought that was pretty cool. Yeah.
Sarah saying, don't make me turn this chat into Chuck Norris jokes.
Please don't.
Talking about jokes, though, one of the things I found out in doing a little research on you, stand-up comedian also.
Yeah, a little bit, yeah.
And just through some of the talks we've had before the show started, I could tell.
Yeah. Well, see, I have ADHD, so I focus very, very strong on something, but not very long. You know what I mean?
I get you.
Like, I'll write a song, it's funny or whatever, or it sounds good, but then I'm like, oh yeah, I have a match today. Then, like, the song isn't in my head anymore. I got to do the match. But on the way to the match, I'm like, hey, is that fucking McDonald's? I'm gonna get a Big Mac. No, fat ass, don't eat a Big Mac on the way to go to a wrestling show. I just get all over the fucking place. You know what I mean? Trying to figure out where I'm going. But yeah, It's. I'm gonna be honest. I forgot what we were talking about. Like,
Being a comedian.
oh yeah, that shit. Yeah, I knew that. I'm just fucking with you.
All right, I've got to ask.
Yeah.
What did you do to Kenny the Sign Guy? Because he's saying you don't tell jokes, you are a joke.
Oh, he just fucking hate. Like, listen, man. I'm just gonna be honest with you about old Kenny, the sign guy here. He's a good feller. He's an all right dude, but like he backs the wrong person, the wrong people all the time. He's always rooting for us to lose. Now he used to like me, but then I took Deacon Hendricks, or I took Ozzie Hendricks, the hippie that wasn't going anywhere, wasn't being pushed, and wasn't being sent anywhere the way he needed to be, and I fixed his path in life.
As a father does.
Yes. And now, right out of the gate, the day we did that, we became tag team champions. We've been dominant ever since. We've been beating all the teams the last 6 months. Every team they've thrown at us. And then now, because of that, they're jealous. They're pissed. So Kevin Sanchez, the what the fuck is he called right now? The commissioner of Empire Pro Wrestling, made the main event of this Saturday's show Tag Team Turmoil. And guess what? We have to start it. And we're the champions. We have to fucking start the Tag Team Turmoil.
What?
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah. Because they think we cheat or whatever. We didn't even cheat in the last one. Last time I checked, triple threat matches are no disqualification, right?
Oh, I can see the furrow coming into Mike's brow.
Everywhere else but BCW.
Get the fuck. Why?
This on you, boss.
Because I'm not a lazy booker.
Yeah, no shit. You have a 6-sided ring.
Very true.
Receiver.
Why are there 6 corners and only 4 directions?
Hey, Mike, do you remember when we worked that show that had that 8-sided ring?
Don't remind me of that thing. That was ugly.
That was insane. It was insane, dude. A fucking 8-sided ring. Like I went to throw Terry, or Terry went to throw me. He goes, "Go to the corner." I'm like, "Which fucking corner?"
Which one? There's 8 of them.
Yeah. I got 4 to choose from. I got the normal amount to choose from on one side.
All right, so I've got to ask about this. I'm looking at the chat. Kenny Sign Guy is saying, that's right, I can't wait. But you also lost to Colby from Channel News 9 in November of 2024. What?
Okay, listen. Oh my God, you're gonna make me retell this. All right, so Kobe from News 9. All right, we've been doing fundraisers to raise money for this little kid, Omar, who has cancer. Had cancer. He beat it.
That boy?
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Yeah, but he had cancer. We were doing, and they were doing a little story on him about, and then because he's actually like I think the nephew of one of the bookers or the owners of Empire, and Kobe Thielen came from News 9 to interview some of us, and then talk to Omar, sitting in the ring with him. Well, this is while he was going through all of his stuff, and then a couple months goes by, and Kobe comes back, and then he's doing an update, and then I guess I'm breaking my character here or whatever, but like, so I get told what I have to do, and initially when the promoter tells me what I'm doing, I don't want to do it because I have limits too. They're not very easy to get to, but
but they're there.
And he goes, "I want you to go out there," and he goes, "I want you to accuse him of making this all about him, and he doesn't really care about Omar having cancer and all this stuff." And I'm like, okay, Like I said, blame it on him, make it about him, and then like heal it up. So we did, and this is like 2 shows before that. So we did that, and he left the ring because he was going, he was outnumbered. It was me and Ozzy, and then so the next show he shows up, and we're just out there talking. Well, I have an amazing manager, a mouthpiece named CM Burnham, who's also my dad on the show, and he is fucking good at his job. And he got out there and he was talking on the microphone. He was talking bad trash to Kobe. So the guest GM comes out and makes Kobe the special guest referee in my tag team match, where we're defending the tag titles against this new tag team called Trap. And Trap is good too. I've been a part of those young men's training, and I'm happy about how they've turned out. And we had a good match that day. We told a good story. Of course, we cheated and won. We recruited a new member to the stable at the same time. It was awesome. But after that, we kept getting accused of cheating, but we, like, whatever. It's not cheating.
No.
I mean, I was just doing what needed to be done, to win. Like,
Doing God's work.
Kenny's problem is even when I like the last show, because it wasn't BCW, I guess. It was a triple threat, and there's no DQ in a triple threat, so we won without any sort of cheating. Because just because someone ran in and did something, no disqualification, that's not cheating, right?
I mean, Mike's giving the one-eyed look.
The bishop returned. And
well, I will say this. I'm looking over at the chat, and we've got Looking Crazy. Just came in with the follow. Appreciate the follow. Says, salute to the Father. Amen.
That's my dude right there. Let me tell you something. That's a true fan, a true believer, a person who reached out and took my hand and listened to what I had to say. Because you know what? He used to like this whole other group. He watched me work twice and was like, I will listen to you forever. And it works. If you just open your mind, heart, and wallet, I will help.
In that order.
Maybe not, but you might switch it up depending on how you look.
Well, we have come to that 9:30 mark, so that's when we start shutting it down. But before we do, want to give everybody a chance to give some final thoughts. And being the first time on the show, Father Padge, anything you want to say to the people listening, the people watching, the wrestling world in general? My friend, the floor is yours.
Yeah, man. If you don't mind, I'd like to plug a couple shows I got coming up.
Go ahead.
All right, I got Empire Pro Wrestling this Saturday. It's 6200 North Robinson Avenue in Oklahoma City. Tag Team Turmoil is the main event. That's me, my tag team partner, my brother, Deacon Hendricks, are defending our tag team titles and our dominance over that entire division, because we have to face that entire division. So come out there. Doors open at 5. Show starts at 6 o'clock. Empire Pro Wrestling is never disappointing. There's several people coming from all over the country. You have Jack Talos, Darren and Aaron Michael. I can't remember this dude. His name is Dam. Let's see. He's a good little kid. He's an up and comer. Pay attention to him. Let's see who else we got. We got Trench Blythe will be in action. The Crash Brothers are one of the tag teams. They're going to face us. The Saints of Pro Wrestling. God, there's so many other teams. I'm kind of up there right now, guys. But the show is going to be awesome. We got Guthrie coming up in April.
You smoked another ham, didn't you?
Yeah, the ham's in the air, brother.
The ham's in the oven.
I don't know which one's more glazed, me or the ham, but well, we got Guthrie coming up in April, and then we got Lawton on April 3rd, I believe. April 3rd, we have a Lawton, Oklahoma show with this Dark Art show. It's run by the Super Beast. And then the very next, or 2 days later on Saturday, we have Guthrie, BCW, the original BCW, I guess, or Oklahoma BCW. I don't want to say it. Does that offend you, Mike, if I call it the original BCW?
We refer to that as BCW proper.
BCW proper. See, I don't even know. All right. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, Jason, or sorry, it's Jason. Sorry. Bishop Simon, my right-handed instruction, he recently returned, and we are actually defending these tag titles using the Freebird rule. So I will get a break between eliminations. So
There you go.
yep, I'm smart about this shit, man. I'm ready.
Well, and if you're in the areas, absolutely check out Empire Pro Wrestling. Of course, BCW proper, always putting on a good show. And when has Super Beast ever put on a show that wasn't awesome? You know what I mean?
They've always been awesome. Yeah.
Well, with that, Mike, final thoughts?
Final thoughts is wherever you live, wherever you're going, find yourself a local independent. You may find the next Brock Lesnar at that show. Just like at AEW Collision the other night, you got Jay Alexander, you got Brick Savage. Those guys are local in Texas. They're independent wrestlers. So pretty much anybody that you're seeing on TV, 9 times out of 10, they were in the independents before they got the big time. So go support independent wrestling wherever you may be.
Yeah.
I couldn't agree more.
To that point, I remember watching Austin Theory on the Indies. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, you never know who you're going to see. And that's going to be my final thought as well. If you have not been to see independent wrestling, whether you're in Oklahoma, Arkansas, here in West Texas, over in California with J-Reb, wherever you're at, guaranteed within 50 miles of you, there is an independent promotion. Go check them out. It's not what you see on TV. It's a whole different animal, and you will find yourself. Sarah says maybe even Sweden. We actually had last week. We had somebody in the chat from Sweden watching the show. It was cool. But wherever you are, you can watch independent wrestling, and you're going to find yourself ready to go to the next show as soon as that one's over. So if you have the opportunity, go check out some independent wrestling. I do need to say, as just so it's out there, there were no cats, bears, or gliders hurt in the making of this podcast. There's a long story there. Kenny the Sign Guy saying, I agree with Mike Caldwell. Go to a show locally and make wrestling signs. Amen. Make signs, support your local wrestlers.
Oh, that's what he does. That's his thing. He makes a lot of good signs. Kenny does. I'll give him that.
Eska 1981 saying, my 9-year-old daughter tells everyone it's better than WWE. And Looking Crazy says the wrestlers make it better. In my honest opinion, they are so open to people. God saves me. Independent wrestling saved my soul. Amen. Well,
You're welcome, buddy.
That's going to do it for us tonight. We might went a little over time, but who cares? Yeah. Patrick's saying no fans. There's a particular fan, like hand fans like this. There's a particular one we had at a show that had a particular word on it.
Tuesday.
Yeah, it's see you next Tuesday on the fan. The whole thing. But I do want to thank everybody in the chat. I want to thank everybody that came in and watched the show, listened to the show live. If you didn't catch it live, look forward to you catching it afterwards. Big thank you to Mike for being on the show, as always. And, of course, to the Father Padge, thank you so much for being on the show tonight. Can't wait to have you back on.
No problem, man. Anytime.
We will be back next Thursday right here with another special guest. I will be getting more information out to you about that. And be listening on the socials, because in a couple of weeks, we're going to have a huge announcement that we're going to put out about the Not Your Average Mark Wrestling podcast. Until then, I'm Guapo. That's Mike Caldwell. That's Father Padge. We're Not Your Average Marks. Catch y'all next Thursday. Yeah.